Chapter 1 of A Sportsman's Sketches. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Tovarisch. A Sportsman's Sketches by Turgenev. Translated by Constance Garnett. Hor and Kalinich. Anyone who has chanced to pass from the Bolhovsky district into the Zhizdinsky district must have been impressed by the striking difference between the race of people in the province of Oryol and the population of the province of Kaluga. The peasant of Oryol is not tall, is bent in figure, sullen and suspicious in his looks. He lives in wretched little hovels of aspen wood, labors as a serf in the fields and engages in no kind of trading, is miserably fed and wears slippers of bast. The rent-paying peasant of Kaluga lives in roomy cottages of pine wood. He is tall, bold, and cheerful in his looks, neat and clean of countenance. He carries on a trade in butter and tar, and on holidays he wears boots. The village of the Oryol province, we're speaking now of the eastern part of the province, is usually situated in the midst of ploughed fields, near a watercourse which has been converted into a filthy pool. Except for a few of the ever-accommodating willows and 2 or 3 gaunt birch trees, you do not see a tree for a mile round. Hut is huddled up against hut, their roofs covered with rotting thatch. The villages of Kaluga, on the contrary, are generally surrounded by forest. The huts stand more freely, are more upright, and have boarded roofs, the gates fastened closely, the hedges not broken down, not trailing about, there are no gaps to invite the visits of a passing pig, and things are much better in the Kaluga province for the sportsman. In the Oryol province the last of the woods and copses will have disappeared 5 years hence, and there is no trace of moorland left. In Kaluga, on the contrary, the moors extend over tens, the forest over hundreds of miles, and a splendid bird, the grouse, is still extant there. There are abundance of the friendly large snipe, and the loud clapping partridge cheers and startles the sportsman and his dog by its abrupt upward flight. On a visit to the Zhizdinsky district in search of sport, I met in the fields a petty proprietor of the Kaluga province called Polutykin, and made his acquaintance. He was an enthusiastic sportsman. It follows, therefore, that he was an excellent fellow. He was liable indeed to a few weaknesses. He used, for instance, to pay his addresses to every unmarried heiress in the province, and when he had been refused her hand and house, broken-hearted, he confided his sorrows to all his friends and acquaintances, and continued to shower offerings of sour peaches and other raw produce from his garden upon the young lady's relatives. He was fond of repeating one and the same anecdote, which, in spite of Mr. Polutykin's appreciation of its merits, had certainly never amused anyone. He admired the works of Akim Nahimov and the novel Pina. He stammered. He called his dog Astronomer. Instead of however, said howsomever, and had established in his household a French system of cookery, the secret of which consisted, according to his cook's interpretation, in a complete transformation of the natural taste of each dish. In this artist's hands, meat assumed the flavor of fish, fish of mushrooms, macaroni of gunpowder. To make up for this, not a single carrot went into the soup without taking the shape of a rhombus or a trapeze. But, with the exception of these few and insignificant failings, Mr. Polutykin was, as has been said already, an excellent fellow. On the first day of my acquaintance with Mr. Polutykin, he invited me to stay the night at his house. "It will be 5 miles farther to my house," he added. "It's a long way to walk. Let us first go to Hor's." The reader must excuse my omitting his stammer. "Who's Hor?" "A peasant of mine. He is quite close by here." We went in that direction. In a well-cultivated clearing in the middle of the forest rose Hor's solitary homestead. It consisted of several pinewood buildings enclosed by plank face.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?